We're all so impatient, aren't we? And I'm as guilty as anybody. I'm a pretty impatient guy. People are getting frustrated over Doge cuts. People are getting frantic about the big, beautiful bill. There's so much to try to digest these days. And I just want to urge you to stay the course. I get it. We're frustrated. Elon Musk is signaling his frustration over Doge cuts. He gave an interview to CBS News, and I'm pretty sure it must be for this coming CBS Sunday Morning, which continues to be one of my favorite Sunday shows. I always like that show. I know they're probably a little bit biased. It's CBS, after all. It's hosted by Jane Pauley. But I like their mix of stories about art and entertainment and a little bit of politics. And evidently, one of the CBS Sunday Morning correspondents sat down with Elon Musk, and that's coming out this Sunday, the interview. But some clips of it have already been released. And Elon is sort of playfully conceding that the big, beautiful bill isn't going to be what he hoped it would be. Now, I've been listening to a lot of smart people say you got to pass the bill first, and then there can be another process that codifies the Doge cuts. You got people on social media who are screaming to the mountaintops, claiming that the Doge cuts are never going to take place. And I don't believe that for a minute. I don't accept that with this president. Do you think Donald Trump's going to drop the ball? You think he's just going to move on and pretend that he doesn't want to slash all this waste and fraud and abuse? Give it time. We're in the first few months of the presidency. This is, we're not even into June yet. We're not even 6 months into year one of Trump's second term. Everybody needs to calm down. And even Elon Musk in this interview doesn't appear to be like angry. He seems to be a little bit perplexed, but nonetheless somewhat jovial in telling the correspondent, well, it may be called a big, beautiful bill, but I don't think it can be both.
You know, I was like disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the Doge team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, like, everything he's done on Doge gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big, or it can be beautiful.
So that got clipped at the end. I think there's a punchline, Christian. I think he said it can be big, it can be beautiful, but it can't be both. Because it can't. It can't be both, according to Elon Musk. And all I'm saying is everybody needs to just take a breath. And when I say trust Trump, I know it sounds sycophantic. I get that. If you don't like me or agree with me, or if you don't like my beliefs, you hear me say trust Trump, and you think, well, there he goes again. He's just blindly. I saw a vicious email the other night from somebody in, I think, Oregon, a shocker, just railing on me because I said trust Trump. Bootlicker and blank, 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 and you're cult. You're in a cult. And look, if you want to accuse me of that, I get it. I'm not gonna push back. I mean, I'm not. But I do trust the guy. That's why I voted for him 3 times. I believe in him. In fact, I believe majority of Americans believe in him. I mean, here's a text. I walk into the studio today on the MyPillow text line. Do you want to know why I trust Trump like you do, Mike? Because if we can't trust Trump to fix things now, then we cannot trust anyone. We need to give him a chance. Our country's in trouble. And I completely agree with that sentiment. Our country's in trouble. Do you trust the guy or don't you? I've been asking, if you've noticed, a number of critical callers that question this week. And if you'll notice, the ones who are critical of him are wavering in their trust of Donald J. Trump. And I believe you got to trust him. I believe we have to believe in him. I believe that he is the master negotiator who's going to get most of what we want. I don't think we're going to get everything we want, but we're going to get a lot of it. We may not get all of it, but I'll bet we get most of it. We're going to get DOGE cuts. We're going to see fiscal sanity. We're going to see tax cuts. We're going to see lower historic unemployment. We're going to see a surging, roaring stock market. We've got to give it time. Try to avoid the noise. Does that make sense? Avoid the noise. Here's John Kennedy, by the way, talking about Rand Paul, who's a no right now on the big, beautiful bill. There's going to be a lot of work that's got to get done. They got a lot to do between now and the 4th of July. Let it play out. Trust Trump. Trust this negotiator. He knows what he's doing. But we have to understand that the Senate is made up of people like Rand Paul and the very colorful Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana.
Some people have a greater appetite for reducing spending. I'm one of them than others. But we'll get it done. If I were Senator Thune, though, I would give us a time limit. This bill's not like wine. It doesn't get better with age. We've got to wrap this up in about the next 60 days, and probably the president will have to get involved. It won't be unanimous on our side. Senator Paul, who I respect, Rand's not going to vote for anything ever. I mean, he's just not. And so you just got to throw that one away.
Some of these votes, I mean, Rand Paul's just going to say no and no and no. Doesn't care about unanimity. And, I on the one hand, I get it. I appreciate the soul searching that he makes us all do. Look, the bill spends too much. I get it. I totally get it. If the budget bill crashes, if it is sunk, we're really dead in the water. We'll lose the midterms, and we'll probably lose the presidency in 2028. This is the reality. It's almost like we got to kind of take our medicine. And right now, the medicine that none of us like is too much spending. It's frustrating. It's annoying. But let's be pragmatists for a minute here. It wasn't like we were wallowing in complaining about spending for the last 20 years. This didn't happen overnight. This has been a gradual, intensified process, and now you want Trump to fix this overnight? It's not going to happen. Meanwhile, Trump's approval ratings are maintaining a 2-month high. This is what people, who, like the angry Democrat from Chicago, never want to understand. Majority of Americans, a sizable percentage of Americans, approve of the job he's doing. Rasmussen has Trump at a 50 to 51% approval rating for Memorial Day weekend. The Economist and YouGov published their determination of Trump's approval rating, and they're never very good to him in terms of the polling. From May 23rd to May 26th, 44% of a job approval rating. That reflects a 2-month high for its polling. Now, 44% isn't great, but it ain't 27%. It's not 10%. And it is, again, a 2-month high for the polling from The Economist and YouGov. All right, Paul, you're such a good sport, and I appreciate your patience so very much. I got distracted. I was babbling. I wanted to get you back on because you were talking about how this bill is not set up for Doge. That's going to be a separate step. So let's walk through that together. And again, thanks for hanging in there with us, Paul.
No problem. Yeah, well, Stephen Miller put out an update on this thing, and he spells it out really good. Have you read that yet?
I have.
It was a couple days ago.
Yep, I read it on the air.
You
In
have?
fact, yeah, we read it on the air. I read a bunch of excerpts from it on the show. But go ahead and explain what he said, because you're right. This is a multi-step process, isn't it?
Well, the thing is not too many people are parliamentarians, and we all have short attention spans. And to go through all that stuff, everybody's eyes would roll back in their head.
I know.
But this bill is about, it's limited by the Senate to mandatory spending only.
Correct.
And all the Doge stuff is discretionary.
Correct.
And the point for that is that it only takes 50 votes to pass for that. It would take 60 votes, which is not going to happen, at least for another few years after we win a few more seats.
That's right.
Then they can start making some really big moves with the economy.
That's right.
But for now, people just need to, if you're not a parliamentarian, and I don't know why it's not being explained this well, but maybe the timing's not right yet.
Well,
but with all the lying,
I think I know why it's not being explained, Paul. I think what people gravitate to the negativity. You know, it's easy to sit on the sidelines and take pot shots. And that's what a lot of people, you know, that's the easy part. You're right. Unless you're a parliamentarian, unless you are an expert in the process itself, you don't understand the process. We just want it done yesterday. And I'm guilty of this. I'm very impatient. I'm not a patient person, you know. But
I heard you though.
But it's
coming through.
Yeah, but it's true. But we've got to just take a breath here and trust. Again, do you understand my point when I say we got to trust the man, we got to trust the president, we got to trust that he knows what he's doing and he knows how to do it?
Absolutely. And they said it would take 2 years to secure the border.
That's
and look
right.
what happened there.
Months, in a matter of months. And now the border is secure. Paul, good to talk to you. I appreciate it. Here's what President Trump said yesterday about the senators who are the Rand Pauls and the Tom Tillises and the John Kennedys and, yes, the Mitch McConnells. We've got the U.S. Senate now that has to make the sausage and crank out the final big, beautiful bill that hopefully he will be able to sign. He doesn't sound worried at all.
I want the Senate and the senators to change, to make the changes they want, and we'll go back to the House and we'll see if we can get them. In some cases, those changes maybe are something I'd agree with, to be honest. It happens. I think they're going to have changes. Some will be minor and some will be, fairly significant.
But he doesn't sound worried. This is part of the process. And you got to ignore the noise. Ignore the noise. The Shawns of Chicago are making a lot of noise. The activists are angry. They're gonna be quiet on 4th of July. Oh no, don't do that. Don't threaten me with a good time. You're gonna have a day of silence on July the 4th. We don't want that. I'm telling you, this thing is I'm gonna start carrying this in my pocket. Just carry this little red box. All these different noises and all these different sound effects. Oh my. Oh, excuse me. Excuse you. The sound machine. I wonder if this is on Amazon. I can't really read the back of it. It's a little red box. If you're watching on Salem News Channel right now, I'm going to keep it in my pocket. And when the angry malcontents like poor Sean Call, and he did not like that sound. He did not like the noisemaker. A lot of text messages pouring in on the MyPillow text line, and we do appreciate your text conversations all the time. Brought to you by MyPillow. Georgia says, I appreciate Rand Paul's conviction. However, most of the Senate is still full of rhino, deep state, greedy Republicans who will be a no if they don't get their pork. Rand Paul has to know this. And then South Carolina writes, Rand reminds me of a particular talk show host. I turn over to you because I get kind of depressed by the talk show host. And I enjoy listening to this particular host. And I get it. Look, I don't say this to pick a fight with anybody, but it is so easy to sit here and bellyache and whine and moan and say it's too much spending. Too much. Look, as Trump said, there's going to be changes made in the Senate. Let it run its course. That's all I'm saying. Let it run its course.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.